They say money is the root of all evil. They refuse promotions because it's not about the money. They feel guilty when their bank account grows. They believe being broke makes them morally superior to the wealthy. If you've met someone who treats money like it's contaminated, there's a specific psychology driving that belief. It's not about values or virtue. It's about fear, trauma, and a story they've been telling themselves for so long. They think it's the truth. Let's break down what's really happening. Welcome to Money Archetype, where we decode the hidden psychology behind financial behaviors. Today, we're diving into people who genuinely believe money is evil. Not just money isn't everything, but actual moral disgust toward wealth. They sabotage their own income. They judge people who pursue financial success. They've constructed an entire identity around financial martyrdom. This isn't about being spiritual or non-materialistic. This is about deep psychological wounds. Money has become the symbol for. Let's explore what's really going on beneath the surface. First, let's be clear. Nobody is born believing money is evil. This is a learned belief, and it always comes from somewhere specific. 1. Childhood poverty with moral framing. They grew up poor, but their parents didn't just say, "We don't have money." They said, "Rich people are greedy," or "Money corrupts people." Or, "We may be poor, but at least we're good people." This is what psychologists call defensive reframing. When you can't have something, you convince yourself you never wanted it. You turn financial lack into moral superiority. The child internalizes this. Poverty equals virtue, wealth equals corruption. 2. Religious or cultural conditioning. They were taught that money is spiritually dangerous. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter heaven. The love of money is the root of all evil. These messages create wealth guilt. The unconscious belief that having money makes you a bad person, so they sabotage their own financial success to stay morally clean. 3. Witnessing wealth destroy someone. Maybe they watched a parent become obsessed with money and neglect the family. Maybe they saw someone sell out their values for a paycheck. One traumatic association gets generalized to all money. Psychologists call this emotional conditioning. Money didn't cause the problem, but money was present during the problem. So money becomes the villain. 4. Guilt over unearned privilege. They grew up wealthy but feel guilty about it. Maybe they saw how their wealth came from exploitation. Maybe they recognize the unfairness of their advantage. So they reject money entirely as a form of penance. This is inherited guilt, shame over circumstances you didn't create but benefited from. The money becomes a symbol of the injustice, so they try to purge themselves of it. A study from the Journal of Economic Psychology found that people who hold negative beliefs about money earn significantly less over their lifetimes, even when controlling for education and opportunity. It's not that they can't make money. It's that they unconsciously sabotage themselves to stay aligned with their moral identity. So how does this belief actually manifest in real life? Here are the telltale patterns. 1. They refuse opportunities that would increase their income. Promotions get turned down. Raises don't get negotiated, side hustles don't get started. And the reason is always framed as virtue. I don't need more money to be happy. Or I'm not motivated by greed. But psychologically, this is self-handicapping. They're protecting their identity by ensuring they never have to confront what money could actually do for them. 2. They judge people who pursue wealth. Anyone focused on financial success gets labeled as shallow, greedy, or materialistic. This is projection and moral superiority. By judging others, they reinforce their own identity as morally pure. It's not enough to reject money for themselves. They need everyone else who wants money to be wrong too. 3. They feel physically uncomfortable when they have money. If their bank account grows, they feel anxious instead of relieved. So they spend it or give it away as quickly as possible just to return to financial scarcity. This is what psychologists call financial discomfort threshold. They've associated financial security with moral compromise. So abundance triggers guilt and anxiety. 4. They romanticize poverty. They talk about being broke like it's enlightening. Money doesn't buy happiness. The best things in life are free. And sure, those things can be true. But when someone uses those phrases to justify not paying their bills or feeding their kids properly, it's not wisdom, it's what's called cognitive dissonance reduction. They're reframing deprivation as a choice. To avoid confronting that it's actually hurting them, 5. They self-sabotage right before financial breakthroughs. They're about to close a big deal, then they ghost the client. They're offered a high-paying job, then they blow the interview. This is success anxiety. Their unconscious mind recognizes that financial success would shatter their identity, so it creates behaviors that ensure failure. Better to stay broke and morally pure than rich and corrupted. Let me tell you about someone I knew named Rachel. She was incredibly talented, a brilliant writer. She could have made 6 figures easily as a freelancer. But every time a high-paying client wanted to hire her, she'd find a reason to say no. She would say things like, "They're too corporate. It doesn't align with my values." Meanwhile, she was working 3 part-time jobs just to afford rent. One day, I asked her, what if making money didn't mean selling out? What if it just meant you could stop being exhausted? She looked at me like I'd suggested she join a cult. Money changes people, she said. I've seen it. That's the belief system at work. It's not about the money. It's about protecting an identity. People who believe money is evil fall into 4 psychological categories. Type 1, the martyr. They wear their poverty like a badge of honor. They're suffering, but suffering proves they're good. This is virtuous victimhood, finding moral identity in financial struggle. Fixing their finances would erase their identity, so they stay broke. Type 2, the rebel. Money represents the system they reject. Capitalism, corruption, exploitation. By staying poor, they're making a political statement. This is ideological self-sabotage, sacrificing personal well-being for symbolic resistance. The problem is, the system doesn't care if they're broke. They're just broke. Type 3, the spiritualist. They believe money is incompatible with enlightenment or goodness. Attachment to material things is suffering. This is spiritual bypassing, using spiritual beliefs to avoid practical responsibility. Being broke isn't enlightened, it's just broke. Type 4, the traumatized. Money was present during their worst experiences, so money became the villain. This is associative fear, linking an object to a trauma it didn't cause. The money didn't hurt them, but it was there when they got hurt, so now it triggers them. Here's what people don't talk about. Believing money is evil doesn't make you virtuous, it just makes you vulnerable. You can't help people if you're struggling to survive. You can't be generous if you're broke. You can't create change if you have no resources. The belief that money is evil doesn't protect you from corruption, it just ensures you stay powerless. Research from Stanford University found that financial stress impairs cognitive function equivalent to losing 13 IQ points. When you're constantly worried about money, you can't think clearly. You make worse decisions. You're trapped in survival mode. So how do you break this belief? First, separate money from morality. Money is a tool. It's neutral. A hammer can build a house or break a window. The hammer isn't good or evil. Neither is money. Second, identify the origin story. When did you first learn money was bad? Who taught you that? Was it true or was it their wound? Third, rewrite the narrative. What if having money meant you could help more people? What if financial stability meant less stress and more creativity? What if wealth wasn't corruption, just options? Fourth, start small. Save $1 without guilt. Charge what you're worth once. Accept money without apologizing. Rewire the association one decision at a time. If you believe money is evil, you're not morally superior. You're just scared. And that fear is costing you more than money. It's costing you peace, options, and the ability to actually help the people you care about. Subscribe to Money Archetype for more psychology behind your money behaviors. Money isn't evil, but the belief that it is, that'll destroy you.